Hi, I'm Father Anthony Hannon from Inviam Patches, and this is To Prepare His Way. I'm out here in Vickers Woods at a prayer cabin, which, as you can see, is ready, or pretty much ready, to be sided. And the inside still needs a little bit of work, a little insulation. But this is one of the places that maybe you might come one day to do a silent retreat here at Inviam Patches. Inviam Patches means into the way of peace, and it comes from the last three words of Zechariah's canticle in Luke's gospel. And I'm very happy that the volunteers who have come here to help me with this project have related to me that they find it very peaceful here. So that's really what it's all about. So people can come here and get quiet, get unplugged and undrugged, and have a chance to listen to God and to get some rest and some restoration from the troubles of the world. Now, I'm not officially open yet, and I've been a little bit down on myself for taking so long to open, but given the current events in the world these days, I'm kind of thinking that maybe it's providential that I'm not open yet. I'm kind of saying, well, they can't close me if I'm not open. So that's the way I'm kind of looking at it, but soon it will be ready to receive guests. I'd like to speak about three things in this video. The first is what it means that the gates of hell shall not prevail against the church. The second thing is what it means to turn the other cheek and walk the extra mile. And the third thing is, in our current situation, does the promise of Jesus to set the captives free apply or not? So, in the first case, the gates of hell shall not prevail against the church. Now, quite often I hear what that means is that the powers of darkness, the fallen angels, or any enemies of the church, any human enemies, would not be able to take down the church, not be able to destroy the church. And I suppose that's true. I mean, the Lord is going to be with us. He established His church. The church is His bride, the bride of Christ. So this is an eternal, everlasting covenant. But I think that we might be able to look at the gates of hell shall not prevail against the church from a different perspective that might help us in these days. If I think back to ancient days when there were city-states, a city would fortify itself. The people would build a wall around the city. And of course, there would be at least, a set of main gates. And there'd be a watchtower, and someone would be assigned to keep watch. And what were they watching for? Well, anyone who would be coming to visit the city, but also especially against armies who would want, or bandits that would come and want to commit crimes in their city, and maybe even attack the city and take the walls down, break through the gates, and take what the people have built up. So if they saw an army coming, they might assess the situation and try to figure out whether they should surrender or should they try to defend the city. So if we say the gates of hell shall not prevail against the church, I kind of think of, a walled city that we'll call hell. It's not the eternal hell, the eternal flames of hell, because anyone who passes those gates, abandons all hope. There's no getting out of that hell. But what if the gates of hell shall not prevail against the church referred to the church going on the offense and exposing evil, exposing the darkness, shedding light on it, and attacking the gates of hell and taking those gates down so that the captives within can be set free. Now let's move on to turn the other cheek and walk the extra mile. So Jesus taught us that we should turn the other cheek. If someone hits you on one cheek, turn the other cheek. And maybe that's a difficult thing to understand. Maybe is Jesus telling us to be victims, to be kind of doormats, let people walk all over us? And I've heard some commentators explain it as turning the other cheek is actually exposing the cruelty of the person who struck you. So apparently in ancient cultures, certain ancient cultures in Jesus' time, someone might hit you on the cheek with their backhand. But if you turned the other cheek and offered that to them, you're kind of telling them, well, go ahead, hit me on this side. And that would be kind of inviting them, we could say, to hit you with an open hand. And apparently, this was below the dignity of a civilized person in those days. So that's what that might mean. It would also apply then when a soldier asks you to carry his bags a mile and you take it an extra mile. And the idea there would be that you take that extra mile and you give that soldier an opportunity to think about how cruel he is. And you also demonstrate to more people how cruel he is because you're carrying his bag like that. And I suppose it also applies, now the mosquitoes are really coming after me, but that's okay. I suppose it also applies to someone who asks for your coat and you give him not just your coat, but more of your clothes as well. So it's not a matter of being a doormat, but it's a matter of exposing abuse. So I just wanted to mention that. And then now the third thing about Jesus coming to set the captives free, or prophesied in Isaiah, proclaiming liberty to the captives. And I'd very much like to do that. I'd very much like to proclaim liberty to the captives. And because a lot of people captive now, prisoners in their own homes, prisoners of fear. And when it comes to the COVID-19 virus, I think the real injustice is the overreaching trampling on human rights of governments. And the sadness of it is how the Catholic Church almost universally has capitulated to this. So, and I know these are things that are very important to you who watch these videos. All of the models have shown that they were extremely, extremely exaggerated and unrealistic. This virus, or so-called virus, which I think is just a like a serious cold or serious flu this year, is none of those models materialized, and the justification for kind of locking down society and causing perhaps irreparable damage to economies. A mosquito went in my mouth. Anyway, I guess I swallowed it. So the justification was to flatten the curve so that hospitals would not be overwhelmed. Well, here in Canada, no hospital was overwhelmed. Not at all, not even close. So the justifications are not there for the lockdown anymore. Yet, and the summer has come and the sun is out, and this thing is gone, man. It's gone. They talk about a second wave, but it's more fear-mongering. It's more projections. So everyone needs to get back to work, and there should be no social distancing at all. And you've done your own research as well. You know that the masks do no good whatsoever, and they could even harm those who wear them, putting your immune system under stress. What we really need, I think, because politicians and religious leaders are not going to admit that they're wrong. It's sad, but they should, but they won't. Any politician or bishop or priest who admits that they were wrong about locking up the churches and closing down the economies, they're going to gain some credibility. But as long as political leaders and church leaders double down on the narrative and say this is a terrible, terrible, deadly, deadly virus, and you all have to stay inside and wear masks, etc., well, they're going to lose all their credibility, because the truth always comes out. The truth always comes out. What we really need is massive non-compliance. We need to go on the offensive. We need to shed light on this, and we need to not comply. We need to not submit to the powers that be that are trampling on our human rights. Now, the fear that's going on, some are afraid of getting this virus, some are afraid of giving it to someone that they love, or some they don't know. And some Catholics may feel that this is a moral obligation to wear a mask and to stay at home and social distance, whatever that means, in terms of like 6 feet away from others and all of that. Because they feel like that if they did contract the virus, and if they were asymptomatic, they had no symptoms, but they were still a carrier of the virus, a vector of it, then they would feel terrible if someone died and they think that they might have given it to them. But the reality is, we always carry around germs with us. And, when we die and we meet the Lord, please God, we go to heaven and we'll know all things. We just might be surprised how many germs we've given to others and they've died somehow or other. So, anyway, this is not, you're not going to go to hell for unwittingly giving someone your germs and they die from it. When we look at the COVID-19, we see that the vast majority are those who are in nursing homes, who are already in nursing homes with very fragile health. Most residents of nursing homes do not die from this. So the nursing homes are locked down. There's an outbreak, so it's going through the whole place, and some people die from it, but most don't. So it's something that you should also think of. And it's a terrible way to live. You're going to live your whole life in fear and not, wondering if you should hug someone or shake someone's hand or just being in fear for your life, or fear of killing someone like unwittingly. So it's not right. It's not right, and I think we should just not comply. And I really like baseball, and this is the time of year when it's not raining to play softball or get a game of scrub going. And I'm not organizing this, but if I would love to be part of that. And someone might say, "But we might get tickets." People are afraid of getting tickets as well. Well, if I was playing ball and by law or police came by and said you can't do that, I'd say, "Hey, you want to go up? We'll give you a turn at the bat there." You're basically showing them, how to have some fun. And well, they're just doing their job, so they might give us tickets. And I would be polite and courteous, and I would receive the ticket. And then I would plead not guilty because it's an unjust order, unjust law. So I think that's pretty much the way to do it. And if everyone is non-compliant, there'll be too many of us to give tickets. And if we all plead not guilty, then the whole system would be overwhelmed. And by the time you get a court case, a lot can happen between now and then, including challenges in Canada to the Charter of Freedom, Rights and Freedoms, and in the United States to challenges to the Constitution. So, I just think that's what needs to be done. I mean, it doesn't have to be baseball. I mean, go down to the beach, have a picnic, go to the park, sit at a bench or a picnic table. Invite people over to your place, to your swimming pool if you have one, or for a barbecue or whatever, and just don't comply. And I don't think any of the evidence is going to show that this is some genuine plague that people are going to be dropping dead over. So anyway, that's what I think should happen, and I think that's a way of becoming free by just actually living free. And imagine you're just doing normal, healthy things, and people giving you tickets. To me, that's like turning the other cheek. That's like going the extra mile. And pretty soon, by law and police won't even give tickets. Just like they don't give tickets for jaywalking or going 5 kilometers over the speeding limit. So, so there you go. Now, there's all sorts of people who are afraid, and this is the trap that they're in. This is the trap that they're in. And when we were baptized, we were not given a spirit of fear. Pentecost Sunday is this Sunday, and the apostles were afraid until they received the Holy Spirit on Pentecost. So my prayer is that this Sunday, the whole church will be set free from this imprisonment of fear. I'm praying especially for bishops as well. It's hard for me to say what I would do if I was in a parish, because it's easy for me to say I would do some heroic thing or some bold thing, but I'm not in a parish, so I really, really don't know. So I certainly don't fault my brother priests for not being defiant. They are trying to be obedient to their bishops. As far as the bishops are concerned, I think what's going on is, first of all, they are in a position of authority, and they respect authority, so they're trying to respect the civil authorities as well. And I'm just trying to give them the benefit and trying to explain what might be going on with them. And the other, because I know some of you, really desired that they would put up a fight and go against government orders to close the churches. I think also that the bishops are trying to show the government and the society at large that they and we as a church are law abiding citizens, because as you know, they've been they have kind of a black mark on them, because either some existing bishops and perhaps and certainly predecessors of theirs have not cooperated with the law and have covered up terrible crimes and sins which you all know about. So I think they're trying to send a message that no, we cooperate, and we are law-abiding citizens. But for the real faithful, that's just virtue signaling, and unfortunately, the bishops are going to lose all their respect as well from the people, unless they step forward and say, yeah, we were wrong about that, and unless they start pushing back against the civil authorities, especially if there's any requirements to wear masks or not give communion or some other strange things that people are thinking of about how to distribute Holy Communion. So there you go. That's my message. But you know what? Each of us who have been confirmed, that was our Pentecost. That was our personal Pentecost. So you don't have to wait till Sunday. This is Friday evening. I don't know. Maybe I won't be publishing this till tomorrow, the day before Pentecost. But we've received our Pentecost. We don't have to wait for any special signs or anything this Sunday. The only thing that is keeping us imprisoned in fear is ourselves. So the truth will set us free, but the truth has set us free if we only follow the truth. If we only follow, we could say the truth, right? So all the facts, the real data, not fake news, but also that we follow the truth, the person. For Jesus is the way, the truth, and he is the life. If we follow him, we will have life, even in this life, and forever in heaven. Amen. If it's on your heart to support this ministry, please look at the links in the description. Go to nviampatches.org and consider being a member supporter here. I'm coming very, very close to lines that probably should not be crossed, and so I don't know how long I'll be on YouTube. And if you subscribe to, it's not subscribe, but if you become a member supporter of NVM Patches, then I will definitely keep in touch with you in case I have to go to a different platform. But that's not the incentive to give. I just really I need your support. I do not receive salary from any diocese, and some say, why don't you do that? Why don't they pay you? Well, I don't want it that way, because that's like a tax. That's like having someone who doesn't know about NVM Patches support me. So that's because that's the way the diocese gets the money, is through taxing the parishes. So if you find what I'm offering of benefit, or if you believe in this project, then please consider a donation, because I am running monthly deficits. I had some surprise donations in March, and it was the first time in a long time that I didn't have to borrow money to pay the bills. So I'm just telling you that's the way it is. I hate to beg, but I am a beggar for this project, and I do trust that everything will work out in the end. Okay, Almighty God bless you, the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Go in peace. The truth has set you free.